I'm standing a few hundred feet from the final resting place of Bede in the Galilee Chapel of Durham Cathedral. Bede was a monk and a historian and a priest who lived 13 centuries ago in the northeast of England. Bede devoted his life's work to the study of the Christian scriptures and to telling the story of how the church in this country grew and took root. It's only because of Bede that we know most of what we know about how the church grew in this country and the men and women who were instrumental in seeing it planted. Here at the Bede Centre for Church Planting Theology at Cranmer Hall in Durham, we are committed to continuing this legacy of research and scholarship, which continues in the line of Bede in telling the story of the church in our country for this time.
In the last few decades, the church has invested a huge amount of time, energy and resource into the starting of new things. We here at the Bede Centre have been encouraged and excited by so much of the fruit of these endeavours. However, we recognise that what's often been lacking is the deep theological engagement that will enable us to start new churches and revitalise old ones in a way that's not just faithful to our contexts, but also to our historical inheritance and ultimately to the Trinitarian gospel.
At the Bede Centre for Church Planting Theology, we are committed to creating a conversation between theologians and practitioners for the sake of the church. Everything that we do has three key values. Firstly, theological. We think that starting new churches is a deeply theological task, which raises important questions for our theology of the church, our theology of mission, and our theology of God, and that our conversation is best served by thinking deeply about these questions together. Secondly, critical. We want to create a conversation in which difficult questions can be asked, in which theological assumptions can be challenged, and in which we can all flourish together in thinking deeply about what we're doing. And lastly, practical. We don't just want to create resources which will fill bookshelves or online libraries, but everything we do is for the sake of the church, so that we might flourish better together.
Cranmer Hall is a vibrant and diverse Christian community forming Christ-like leaders for today's church through transformational learning. Located here in the world-class Durham University context within St John's College, the Bede Centre is a key part of the flourishing of our academic learning and training. We're also located within the rich and beautiful heritage of the North East, and the Bede Centre will serve churches locally and nationally as it explores church planting theology and practice.
There are lots of different ways you can connect with what we're doing at the Bede Centre for Church Planting Theology. We're regularly producing books and journal articles on the theology of church planting, but we're also committed to publishing free to access online resources on what's going on nationally and reflecting theologically on this. Secondly, we host online events, whether these are networking or webinar events, in which you can connect with the conversation around what's going on in the theology of church planting. Lastly, you're warmly invited to join us for our annual Church Planting Theology Conference here in Durham, in which we invite world-leading experts in both theology and practice so that we can have a dialogue in thinking through the theology of planting new churches.